Welcome back to the Be Bold Show. You've missed so much if you just joined in. We have been looking at all the strong and powerful women and what they're doing and how we can encourage our next generation of women. To see more of what has happened, please go to on our Facebook page or our website to see what you have missed. But right now, it is time, again, as every week, for our Sickle Cell Project. So let's see what the update is for this week. Is there a cure for sickle cell disease?
Yes, there is a cure for sickle cell disease, and a few hundred patients actually have been cured. The cure for sickle cell disease is bone marrow transplantation, or in more scientific terms, we say hematopoietic stem cell transplantation. That involves taking the bone marrow, which is where blood cells are made, from somebody, usually a brother or sister, who's a tissue match to the patient. And first, using medications, sometimes plus a little radiation, to destroy the marrow of the patient. And then putting bone marrow tissue from the donor into the patient. And if that transplanted bone marrow takes, then the patient will begin to make the same blood as the brother or sister who gave it. And so if the brother has sickle cell trait AS or has normal hemoglobin AA, and the transplant worked, then the patient from then on will be making blood of his brother or whoever the donor was. So it's been done for, I estimate it's probably around 500 to 600 people all over the world. Actually, it's not just US, most of them US, but the first transplant was done in the US, but in Belgium, France, UK, many places have been doing transplant. In Africa here, I'm not aware of any bone marrow transplantation for sickle cell disease. Although in South Africa, they're doing some transplantation for leukemia and other things, so it won't be long before we should be able to do it.
And has it worked for all these patients?
There's about 85% cure. Transplant is it's not an easy thing to do. Procedure-wise, it's easy, but bone marrow transplant, unlike say heart transplant or kidney transplant, it involves your immune system in a much more serious way. So first you have to make room for the marrow that is coming, and by room I don't mean like real space. It's that you have to take away my blood cells, including the cells, the immune cells that can reject new tissue that is coming in. So we use strong medicines to stop you from making your own blood, your white blood cells, your red blood cells, your platelets. During that period of time, you are at risk for infection because now you don't have white blood cells to fight infection. You don't have blood platelets to help your blood to clot, so you can also bleed, and you can bleed to death. If the marrow takes a few weeks for it to fully repopulate and replace your own blood. And during that time, you're still at risk for infection and bleeding. So usually the real risks are within the first few weeks after the transplant. So you need a special unit where the patient can stay germ-free and not get infected. You have to have a blood banking system that can supply the blood cells that are not being made, the red blood cells and platelets. The white cells, we don't transfuse white cells like that. We have to wait for the body to bring the white cells. So it's still risky. About somewhere around 5% have died from the transplant-related complications. Then you can reject the transplant and you go back to your sickle cell disease, or you can develop another longer-term complication where the active cells that came in are rejecting the body that it came in. We call it graft versus host disease. It mounts an immune attack against the body. So bone marrow transplantation is cautious, but putting it all together, when you have something that can cure 85% of them, it's still very optimistic. It was done in 1982 in a child, a young girl who was about 8 or 9 at the time, who developed a kind of leukemia that it's difficult to treat with medications, and the best treatment for it is transplantation. And so she was transplanted, not so much to cure her sickle cell disease, but to try to cure her leukemia. And so she got bone marrow from her brother. And she was lucky. Her leukemia was cured, and her sickle cell disease was also cured. Yes. But since then, several have been done just for the sickle cell part.
And is it always young people, or?
Transplant works better in younger people than older people. And so, I would say for the first maybe 400 or so that were done were all children under 18. But recently there have been some successful efforts in older patients. And so in the US, at the National Institutes of Health, there is a team there that has been transplanting adults, and they've had some good results.
And that was the update for our sickle cell project. Now you can be a part of this awareness creation if you've got some resources to give, whether it's your knowledge or it is your money. You can donate that, but we're approaching that time, so guys, keep donating, and definitely you'll be giving back to a good cause.
But now it is also time for us to give something to you. Now, as every episode, we want to give something back to our viewers because we love you so much, and it is you that makes this show happen. So our first thing that we are giving away today is a gorgeous Ajepoma blouse for the ladies. Oh yes, oh yes. So go onto YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and who knows, you might be going home with a gorgeous Ajepoma.
And YouTube is doing well, actually. Yeah. We have so many viewers, like over 50,000 hits, like constantly. So from different parts of the world, New Yorkers, you guys are doing so well watching this show. It's unbelievable. In the UK, we've got Holland. Yes. Unbelievable. It's really reaching far and wide. There are Ghanaians out there, Africans out there who are believing in this movement, bringing education and building opportunity for leadership and development. So you can take part all over the world.
But we also still have some t-shirts to give away, Be Bold shirts for all the gentlemen out there. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you. So also go onto YouTube, subscribe, and who knows, you might be going home with that.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, that marks the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed the guests and you love this women empowerment episode, because I certainly loved it. I know that men out there are just like, oh, guys, again. Come on, give us a little one episode to do that. All right, and as you know, my clothes by AKE from Kemi.
And mine too, obviously.
Yes, and our makeup by So Aesthetic and pictures by Capture. So many sponsors, in fact, that
Thank you so much.
Yes, you'll see them rolling on the screen later on. Thank you for everything.
And see you next week.
Be bold.
Yeah, got on my motherland, my brother mine. We on a race to another land where we have a plan to make a better man. A day in a life, a day in your life to make things right. Feel the lamplight, we're about to climb heights. With 4 steps, call it 4 letters. Bold, word, success story told. Maybe share a story on your own. Hard work, trying to keep up with the Jones. Overcoming their lips and the bone. Made a promise, I will make it when I'm grown. Let's all stand up tall and be wise and be bold. I stand up tall and I'm wise and I'm bold. Let's stand up tall and be wise and be bold. Be wise and be bold. Be wise and be bold. Stand up tall and be wise and be bold. I stand up tall and I'm wise and I'm bold. Let's stand up tall and be wise and be bold. Be wise and be bold. Be wise and be bold. Show. Everybody needs something. Take a step, make a move. Action. Insecurities only make a victim. To be the one then. Love your blood genes, love who you are. Express how you think, can't flex with your ID like you do with BB pins. Back then like Titanic, I sink. But it's a good day, I can hear the bed sing. I got a quick edge like a violin string. Now the pain keeps falling, now we flowers in spring. And be wise and be bold. At least in your thoughts, be a queen or a king. Stand up tall and be wise and be bold. I stand up tall and I'm wise and I'm bold. Let's stand up tall and be wise and be bold. Be wise and be bold. Be wise and be bold. Stand up tall and be wise and be bold. I stand up tall and I'm wise and I'm bold. Let's stand up tall and be wise and be bold. Be wise and be bold. Be wise and be bold.
The Bold Show is proudly supported by